Nicole Espinoza started her real estate career in 2009 with Lenders in Foreclosures. During her work, she noticed many of the affected families had little to no information to prevent it. That's when Nicole decided to do something about it and get into short sales. Since, she's saved thousands of homeowners from foreclosure. Nicole is a hardworking mom of two. She's the best-selling author of Short Sales Uncensored and the founder of Short Sale Queen. Now she's ready to share her secrets with the world, the good, the bad, and the ugly in entrepreneurship, and her journey to success. Here's your host of Entrepreneurship #Uncensored with Nicole Espinoza.
Welcome back. We are here for the third episode of Entrepreneurship #Uncensored. And today I have Chauncey Pham with me today, Pham for Texas. And I'm so excited to bring her on the show today because she is a phenomenal human being, investor, realtor. I mean, we just talked about how many hats she wears. She does it all, literally. She also mentors for real estate agents here locally and nationwide. Welcome, Chauncey. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So today I want to talk about, really just dive into your story, and you have an incredible background. So when I was actually watching other interviews, like we're friends and I know you, and I still wanted to do some research, that you have just such a strong marketing background that you've been able to utilize for all of your businesses. So
Right.
I definitely want to touch into that today. But for the people that don't know you and for my audience, can you kind of give a brief intro?
Yes. So Chauncey Pham, Pham for Texas, not Pham. It's actually Pham. So I am a realtor here in Dallas Fort Worth. Started out in real estate here in 2016. Very quickly, kind of found my place in the market, in the business, and then I opened my own little boutique business entity brokerage. Had a brokerage for a while, kind of changed the way that I did business and moved on to a national brokerage that kind of set the stage for me to then be able to coach, train, mentor a lot of agents. So I now have almost 170 agents in 22 different states that I coach, train, mentor, kind of lead. And then my husband and I actually opened up our investment division of our company at the end of 2018. So we actually do fix and flip properties as well. And then, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. So I'm just wearing too many damn hats, honestly.
Yeah. That's a lot.
But yeah.
Well, the investment, we were just talking about that offline,
Right.
about how much fun that is.
Yeah, it is.
So definitely what I love about what you're doing is you've been able to fuel all of your businesses with each other. So
Correct.
You've been able to get those leads for your investments into your traditional
Right.
business and, be able to set all that up. Now, there's a lot on your plate. So what do you think would be what has been the biggest challenge as you've grown this? Because that's a lot of agents. That's a lot.
It is. But I structured it in a way that first of all, what people have to understand with growing businesses is I think we see everyone kind of where they are, right?
Yeah.
We don't think about all of the steps that it took to get there. So when I first started, I was just a realtor, just like everyone else. I just sold
Right.
houses. But I think that I was always very solutions driven. I always wanted to be able to provide as many solutions to people as possible. So that's kind of where all of the other facets of my business came about, where I started adding on. And so I would say, the most difficult part at this point is just kind of managing it.
The day-to-day.
Just the day-to-day of it. Like you see all of these people running their business. You don't know what it takes on the back end.
Yeah.
To keep things going, as a well-oiled machine. I think I kind of got off track on what your question was, but
No, you're fine. Keep going.
yeah, but nonetheless, it's something that progressive over time. It progressively grows. It turns into its own thing over time, and I love every minute of it. I think that my marketing background, my sales background, really kind of helped propel me to where I am, and I'm loving how all of it just ties in together, and it's.
So what you do to piggyback off what you just said, your marketing background. So
Right.
let's talk about that. What did that look like before you got into real estate?
So I worked actually in marketing on the retail side. So I was an account executive. I worked for a marketing firm, and we took care of all of the marketing campaigns and marketing efforts for basically C-stores and fashion retail chains. So H&M, Guess, BB, BCBG, and then Circle K was one of my main clients that I had. And so I actually worked with their marketing departments. Mind you, I have no formal marketing background. But I landed this gig as an account executive, worked with their marketing departments, and started to learn and understand marketing from a perspective of the consumer, from the research and analytics side of things. And so I learned everything from food service photography shoots to consumer behaviors to resetting retail stores so that when consumers come in, they're kind of led a certain way to buy certain things based on their behaviors. And I took a lot of what I understood from that, the digital marketing side that I learned from that, and also the print media side, but more importantly, like the principles of the consumer behavior, and then I apply that to my real estate business and the other facets of my business.
Which is awesome because, I mean, so I have no marketing background whatsoever, but I definitely resonated with me what you said about looking at what the consumers, the feedback, and focusing your business on that, because I've always looked at marketing as, would I respond to that? Like, so when I train agents, I'm like, would you respond to that message? Because you sound like a used car salesman right now. Like, you literally sound like no one cares that you're a realtor. Right. And so I think people approach it as, I don't know where they get trained that way. I think I missed the class where you market yourself as, hi, I am Nicole and I buy, sell, lease. Okay, cool. Like no.
But what value do you bring? Like why does someone actually want to work with you and talk to you? So
they don't lead with value or provide solutions. So there's nothing special about them. And so I think what you said is so powerful for the people that are listening. Like, how can you do something that's solution based? How can you create your business? It doesn't have to be real estate. It can be anything that can be providing a solution, and it's something that people would actually respond to. It's actually very simple.
It's very simple.
It's not difficult at all.
And I would say probably the hardest part of my job right now is coaching, training, mentoring other salespeople on that very principle, because it's so natural for me. Like I get it. Like I understand it. And teaching people things that come naturally for you.
Oh, it's so hard.
Is so incredibly hard.
You're so right, because with my team, I would tell them, like, why didn't you just say this, or this is what I said, and it's hard to verbalize what you're naturally good at. And when you're training, like, I had to sit down and literally record my conversations so they could just see how I did it, because I don't know how to tell you to relate to this person so that you can build rapport. Like, just talk to them.
Just talk to them.
Like, so I think that's very important, because even when you're building a sales team, like, how can you articulate and document that to create a system so that they can, do what you're doing?
And that's been the hardest part of all of it. I would say if you ask me hands down, what is something that, I struggle with the most, and it is absolutely creating a system out of something that I do naturally. Like, I naturally build relationships with people. I naturally have conversations with people. I naturally can just like talk to a random person at the grocery store and figure out their life story before we've checked out with our groceries, right? And it's very difficult to create a process and a system for other people to do the same thing. And I would say I definitely like struggle with that the most.
What do you think you struggle with on, like, what does your day-to-day look like, right? So you just said that you do all of these things. How are you balancing that right now?
Ooh. Girl.
Is that a loaded question?
It's a loaded question, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge because I'm a people pleaser. And I think that's like the salesman in me, right? Like, I want to create a solution for everyone, and I want to be everyone's answer. So my day-to-day right now is definitely changing, because it has been consistently me spreading myself so thin and wearing myself out that I have nothing to give to myself, which eventually means that my tank's gonna run out and I can't give to other people. And I'm kind of at that crossroads where I'm understanding that. And so my day right now is really time blocking and making sure that all the different facets of my business are getting the right amount of attention. So luckily, my husband's wonderful. He runs almost all of the investment side of our business, like exclusively. I just get to go and like run over budget and design all of the projects and do the fun stuff in market. So so that part is kind of taken off, but the running the 170 agents in 22 different states, me actually working with my existing clients and getting that going, I'm definitely having to buckle down, live by a schedule, I cannot be willy-nilly. I have to understand what's important to give time to and what's not important to give time to.
And that's, you know, we were talking about that at lunch, that it's so easy to drain yourself because when you put yourself out there on social media, and we're going to dive into that on your brand, because that's something that you have done a phenomenal job with YouTube and, you know, just your social media in general, of how draining it can be. Like, people see you give so much information for free. And then there's this expectation, well, you already did it, so I want more information for free.
Right.
And they don't value, I mean, this is uncensored, right? So let's just fucking tell the truth. like we're out there and we're trying so hard, and it makes you not want to even do anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And it gets you to the point where you're like, okay, what are my priorities? Like, by the way, we're still running full businesses.
Right.
Still trying to make ourselves available to be a resource.
Absolutely.
And then we get people on our calendar that are like, why aren't you giving me more information? Like,
Right.
I expect this from you.
Right.
And so I think it's really important, as you are going through this stage of your career, of like having those boundaries
Oh my
and
gosh.
making yourself less available so that you can be able to continue to scale. And like, for me, like, I kind of took a hiatus on social media. We talked about that in the summer, and now getting back into it and trying to establish boundaries, because I want to be able to give back as much as possible, but at the same time still have a life,
Absolutely.
have my relationships, and run my business, right? The things
Right.
that make us money. So
Absolutely. And that is so hard.
It's definitely
especially
hard.
for people that are people pleasers. And I especially like to really get in there and just answer all the questions and be the solution for everyone.
Right.
And man, it's hard. I would say that the biggest lesson that I've learned in this, people take advantage. And when you can't say no, like, they're definitely not gonna have enough sense to not ask and
You
say
don't get
no.
what you don't ask for, right? So
Right.
that's-
So that is definitely a struggle. So my day-to-day right now is definitely consisting of me adding in processes and
Right.
layers and buffers and time blocks that I can only give this during this time, and understanding how to do that so I don't burn myself out and I still have something to give to others is very, very important.
100%. So going back to the social media and the branding, I see you talk a lot about branding, right? And me and you have the same mentality. Like, we would rather build a business where people come to us, right?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
we provide value, we provide solutions, and
Right.
our word is our bond, everything. So tell the people that are watching, like, what is something that consistently, because YouTube is a whole other animal.
It
Like,
is?
It is something that when I took on about a year ago, like, of course, the other social media platforms, you know, you kind of grow those.
Right.
And then you go YouTube, you're like, oh, okay, this is totally different.
Totally different.
And you have killed it, like, when it comes to YouTube. I mean, you get so much business from it.
I do.
A lot of the relationships that you've established. So can you talk a little bit about that, on how you've grown that, and like what you did consistently that someone can kind of walk away, something tactical?
What I can say about YouTube and something that I've noticed about YouTube is you can't fake it on YouTube.
I love about it.
That's what I love about YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, you literally can't fake YouTube. You can fake who you are, what you do on all of these other platforms, but if you can't bring entertainment, you can't bring value, and you can't bring things that people actually want to watch in an engaging way, they're not going to watch it.
Yep.
And like, your channel's not going to grow. Like, you literally can't fake it. And so for me, honestly, YouTube was a creative outlet for me, which is why I think that it's fared so well for me. Is I didn't look at YouTube. That was the one thing that I wasn't very technical about. I wasn't very systems oriented.
You weren't trying to be perfect.
I wasn't trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
I wasn't, trying to upload videos on a schedule necessarily, but I would just put stuff out there that I felt. And I felt it in my stomach, and I had a fire in my belly about the messaging that I was putting out and the way that I was putting it out. And I think that resonated with the audiences and
A lot of agents, because I've met a lot of the
lot of
agents that have met you through YouTube, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I love her.
yeah, so many
She's
people.
awesome,
And
yeah.
it's just, that was my way of saying, how can I expose myself to the masses without like personally having to go out? So I just
Yeah.
have like, all of these people that follow me that think they know me because I am literally who I am on YouTube in real life.
Yeah.
And it has definitely fared well for my business.
That's so awesome. And so I remember seeing some of your videos where they go rants about realtors and then rants about clients and things like that. And I think that's really important, because
Right.
if anything, hopefully more people watch so that they know what not to do, like the pet peeves.
Chauncey's pet peeves.
Yeah, that's a whole section, right?
Yeah, well, it's rants.
Yeah.
Yes, it's literally called rants.
And so a lot of the mentorship that you do now is for real estate agents, right?
Yes.
So can you
yes.
talk about that? Like you said you have a course.
Yes.
So tell me about the course.
So I do have a course. It's called the Struggle Bus GPS, because I would say 85 to 90% of new agents that get into the real estate business are on the struggle bus, and they have no idea how to get off. I threw GPS in there because they have no direction, right? They have no idea how to navigate through. They don't know how to position themselves in the industry as the authority. They don't know, anything really about where to go, how to get there. And so I, in coaching and training and getting so many questions from agents, I just kind of like compiled this quick, comprehensive, to the point, no fluff. Like, you don't need to hear my whole damn life story before I tell you what you need to do. Like this is what you need to do step by step to set up yourself in the business and set yourself up as a real estate business owner.
Yeah.
And so that course is done very well. It's helping lots of agents out there. I did not expect for it to take off the way that it did. But it is apparently very helpful and to the point. So Struggle Bus GPS.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, I mean, literally, when I shot it, I was like, this is going to be as real as I can get with these people, because I think that a lot of agents get into the business. There are lots of new shiny things in front of them, but a lot of it's fluff, right?
Right.
Or it's filled with just like generic information that's not really telling them necessarily how to do things. It'll tell them what to do, but not how to do it. And so I really wanted to focus on like, this is what you're supposed to do, but this is also how you implement it and actually do it in your business and get going.
Well, and I think what's important of what I'm hearing and what I want other people to be noticing on what you've said this entire time is that you're authentic, that people resonated with you and your brand because you just told it like it is, no filter, no anything. And if they didn't like it, keep moving, because there was obviously an audience for it.
Right.
And so when you think about branding, instead of putting this facade of, like you said, fluff and like trying to be anything else, the only reason why it's created so much momentum is because you were able to do that authentically and people resonated with it.
Right.
And as a result of it, the money follows. The brand creates more opportunities and gives you an outlet to be able to create relationships, which is social media done right.
Correct.
Because so many people spend so much energy trying to create this image, and they're wondering why, or solicit business, and they're wondering why they have no business.
Right. Right.
And instead, because think about it, like when you think about Facebook or social media in general, you think about people that are like, I've got to put this many filters on, right? And I've got to make sure everything is absolutely perfect. And then let me make sure that I'm saying the exact right thing, right? And you're like, look, let me tell you about this rant on YouTube. Let me tell you what, this pissed me off. And people are like, oh my God, it pissed me off too.
Right. Right.
And it's okay, right?
Because okay.
There's no like hate, there's no anything. Like, you're able to do that in a way that's like, this is just who I am.
Absolutely.
And it's okay if we disagree.
Right.
Right. Like we talked about that earlier, like, especially with like the elections coming up and all this other bullshit. Like we can have different opinions.
Absolutely.
And still be able to thrive in our area.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important, and that's a key thing when it comes to branding.
Yes. And understanding who you're talking to. I think people create brands is like this fantasy of who they want to be, instead of understanding that branding is all about the client that you want to reach.
Yeah.
And when I started, I said, I want to work with people that I want to work with. And the only way I'm going to work with people that I would like to hang out with, to be my friends, then I have to be myself.
Absolutely.
I can't be anything else, because then it won't work.
Yeah.
And so it was that simple. And so the fact that like flies over people's heads,
Yeah. It's crazy. The most profound things are so simple.
Just keep it simple.
You're just like, okay, like that's it. I just have to talk. Like I just have to say exactly.
Legit.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think right now? So you've built YouTube. Like, what's the next step?
Oh, girl. I don't know. I don't think I can take any more steps right now.
So maybe the next step for you is taking a step back.
The next step for me is taking what I have and running it efficiently and optimizing it across all parts of my life. So whether it's the scheduling part, the access part, just everything, the monetization part, profitability, like I'm actually just evaluating my business and looking at it to make sure that it's running efficiently. So after that, though, I think we are really wanting to move more into like the multifamily space.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of like research and learning about it. And of course, being in the investment circle, you already are around people that are doing that. And so I think that's maybe the next step. But for right now, I think I'm going to settle in where I am. become kind of an expert here, continue growing my group out, getting them where they need to be, making sure that they're selling and that they have what they need to be, you know, the best that they can be, and continue on kind of with our flipping business until we can kind of level up to the next level.
That's awesome. What does your team look like right now? So you said, I know we talked at lunch and you said you have an HR manager that's kind of helping you with the agents.
Yes. So
break down what your team looks like.
Really right now, I have been, which is why I'm so damn tired, I've been a one-man shop. So something that all of you should know about me is I'm very cheap. I'm very cheap. Some people like to call it efficient, but I'm just cheap. And I
used to be that way, and then I learned delegating and letting it go, and I was like,
it gives me anxiety.
You know, it used to give me anxiety, but it's all about finding the right people.
Right.
Like it truly is. And once I was intentional with
It is.
this is what I need and I need to let go, and I got that freedom back. Oh my gosh,
And
girl,
see,
it
it's
will change
so
your
hard
life.
for me
Yeah.
to let it all go. Like I am a control freak. So as of right now, it's just me, an HR manager that is kind of the buffer between me and then like the agents, and we're still kind of building out what that process looks like. And then ultimately kind of building out some of the agents in the areas that they're strong to kind of help and collaborate and work with the others. With the investment side of the business, it's just me, my husband, you know, our GC, like we're running all of that very lean, which is I think something else that has helped us kind of get where we are quickly is we run a lean business. Like there are not a lot of expenses. It's very high profit margin. My husband was always, he was an executive in the hospitality business before he got out and came into real estate. And he has just always said, like, it's not about how much money you make.
Yep.
It's about how much money you keep.
Ugh.
And
Amen. Can we put that like in bold somewhere?
And
oh my
so
gosh.
I'm always one of those that's like, throw some money at it and like that'll
See
fix
what
it.
happens. See if it sticks.
And he's just like, yeah, no. Like, look at what you're doing.
Yep.
Become more efficient at what you're doing. Come up with some processes for what you're doing. Get more organized at what you're doing. And I promise you, like, you don't have to hire 15 other people.
If more people were transparent with what they actually made instead of sold, a lot less people would be
Profit versus
impressive.
revenue.
That's what I loved about. So we were at a KW office, and I was speaking at a market center, just about the market shifts and short sales and things like that. And they do GCI, and I was like, I love this because you would see these top teams that would do like $6 million that month, and they made like $35,000, and they're like #1 in sales, and then like number 10 in actual profit. And I'm like, that is a lot of work. And I remember when I used to have my goals were like 30 closings a month. And now I'm like, no, I want to do 6 figures a month. Like,
Right.
I don't even care if that is in 10 deals, right?
Right.
Because we have this like idea in our head when we get into business, like we need sales. And what changed my perspective was profit first, right along the lines with what your husband said. So if you guys haven't read that book, stop what you're doing, order on Amazon. Because if someone tells you that a book changes their life, you have to order it. Like, it's serious.
Profit first.
It changed my whole perspective on money, because I realized I was looking at it all wrong, right? Like as most salespeople, they fall into this trap of like, I can just make more, right?
Right.
Instead of like, who cares how much you make? It's how much you keep.
Right.
And so when I started thinking about it like that, I'm like, okay, so instead of trying to keep getting more, like how can I hold on to what I have, or have bigger profit margins and cut the expenses?
Right. Absolutely.
And honestly, like COVID was such a blessing for my business, because I went into crisis mode thinking the beginning of this year, like if we don't have any sales for 2 or 3 months, like my reserves are going to be depleted, and like, I have to have all this overhead with my staff. And we like cut so much.
Cut all of it.
And now I'm like, I'm never going back.
Why did we need all of that? Like we didn't even need it.
It was such an eye opener. It forced our communication with our staff to be even better than it ever has been. It showed us the holes in our business, because now we had all this time because everybody was at home. And then the expenses, I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need to be paying for this. And we were fine.
Right.
We were going to be hiring someone else before
Right.
COVID happened. And it was just such a game changer. Like,
And see,
it
I'm
was
at that
awesome.
point in my business where I'm having to hire though, because I have scaled up as much as I can, like on my own. Like
You did the cheap thing as much as long as you could.
I can't keep being cheap.
No, you need peace of mind.
I need peace of mind at this point. So I am in the process, but I have to make sure that I'm putting the right people in the right places to kind of scale up and continue to grow.
Or would you say you're more of an implementer, or are you more of a driver?
I'm more of a driver.
Yeah. So you need your implementer.
Yes.
You need somebody that is gonna
Correct.
help you put everything in place, because
Correct.
you're the ideas person,
Yes.
and you're also forcing yourself to be the integrator.
Absolutely.
And
I'm just forcing myself to do like all of it, and it's just not.
That's
It's not freeing.
no, that's how you're going to burn out right there.
Right.
That was definitely me for a long time. And then that was even the first episode we did when I brought Stephanie in to talk about her perspective, because before I had met her, that was me. I was literally like,
Doing everything.
I had to do everything. And generally when you have someone like us that's like the driver, and we don't implement it all.
No.
So congratulations, you've been able to.
Congratulations.
I mean,
You've implemented
you're going a little
things.
crazy, but you need to be able to find that person.
Yes. So that is where I am in my business. But I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving the freeing feeling of entrepreneurship. It's tiring. It's a selfless, and a thankless business, especially in what I'm doing with the coaching and the training and the mentoring. But it's rewarding, and as wild as 2020 has been, it's been a blessing in disguise. Yeah. I, being an entrepreneur and then kind of going through 2020 has allowed me to, rekindle relationships with my husband, with my kids. My kids still aren't in school. They're still home.
God bless them. That's why you're going crazy.
That's why I'm going crazy. That is why I need medicine.
I love my children, but I also love dropping them off for school.
Yes, I feel like their teachers miss them.
I love them coming back.
I want to share them with their teachers again, but
that's good. It's healthy,
They're home.
Well-rounded.
I hired a teacher that comes to our house like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She does she helps them with the distance learning. But I mean, it's been good, man. Like this has been a good year, profit-wise, revenue-wise, family-wise, relationships-wise, self-reflection-wise. 2020 has been a good year. It has definitely helped me understand and put things into perspective of what's important, what's not, and moving forward. I think it'll be.
And I think that's such the right perspective, because me and you talked about this earlier of, some people, of course you have like the ongoing joke, right? Like we're done with 2020.
Right.
And I'm like right there with you, right? I feel like you have like one extreme to the other where people are like, this is the worst year ever, because I had to actually like be around the people I live with. That's why, in Texas, I don't know about the country, but in Texas, the highest divorce rate.
Yeah.
We got a lot of divorces and short sales right now. But I think it just was really just an opportunity to just like not only deal with your shit, right? But like when you go into business, like force you, like what systems do you really have? Like a reflection of like where you are.
Absolutely.
Financially, can you withstand? I mean, I was blown away at the companies, like major companies.
That went out of business in like 2 weeks.
Yes. I'm like, how can you not do payroll for, like, this is insane to me. Yeah. And it also makes you rethink what is success.
Absolutely. And what is happiness too, right? We were talking about that earlier too. Like, I think especially in our circles where we're running with people that like are making money, like their money it comes by very easily in our circles in real estate and investing. But are you happy?
Right.
But are you really happy?
Well, I want it all. So I would like the money in my bank, but I'd also like a full balanced life. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
You definitely, you
have to find balance.
You do. And I think it's really important to figure out what that looks like. And, with both of us, like that perspective. So as we wrap up, where can people find you, your course, where's all, your
all
plug.
The things.
Yes,
Plugging myself.
Yes.
Shameless plugs here. All right, so go to YouTube, Chauncey Pham. My course is at myrealestaterebel.com, www.myrealestaterebel.com. You can find me on Instagram, estate_chick_real. And you can find me on Facebook at Chauncey the Realtor.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I enjoy talking to you, and this is your like debut. So everybody on YouTube, message her and ask her to do another video.
Yes, because I've been slacking on my videos.
It's okay. You're back now. All right. Don't forget Spotify, iTunes, anywhere where you can see podcasts, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week for another episode of Entrepreneurship #Uncensored. Bye.